Greetings, my Arsenal future family. How you doing out there? Welcome to another podcast from Arsenal Future. Yours truly, Chris from Arsenal Future. I'm hoping that you're all alright out there and you're all keeping well. Unfortunately, in the UK, we're still waiting for summer. The sun doesn't want to come out to play, and at times I'm a bit chilly. But hey, at least we've got the Euros on. At least we've got some type of football, some type of enjoyment, and some type of fun to enjoy. And we just hope that you can subscribe to our channel if you're new around there. You know what to do. You don't have to. It doesn't cost a penny to subscribe. It doesn't cost a penny to like the videos and to share the videos and to leave your comments. It's absolutely free. We're not been monetized yet, so we've got a long way to go. But anyway, you know, we've been promising you for a while now. You know, when we talk about our players, what will be our players of the Euros. We wanted to do it before the tournament. We wanted to do a preview of the tournament, but it's a couple of days gone now, so I won't bother to do that now. So what I'll do, I'll just give you my top 12 players of the tournament. I was going to give you 10, but I'd stretch it out to 12 because I said 10. I could squeeze in a couple more players, so I've actually given you 12 players. I hope you can see me properly. I'm hoping. Yeah, because I'm thinking that maybe I'm too much up there. Yeah, so I hope you can see me properly and everything. Of course, you know, when you see that shirt, you're in tune to Arsenal Future, of course. And so I've actually done it the old school way again, like I did with the player ratings. I've had to, you know, make a clip, make a bit of a caption of it, just so I don't lose track of the players, because I've selected 12 players, and I don't want to be going who's, you know, because I've got so many things to hold up here, and occasionally, you know, you could lose track and so on. But I'm hoping to find the players, and it's right here. It should be right here, the top 12 players, or I'm, you know, selecting as players to look out for. Some might end up players of the tournament and so on. Then down the line, I'll give you who I feel will win the Euros, who might be the top scorer, but that's additional. But I'm going to get cracking, so we don't waste any more time. For me, I'm going to go for Jamal Musiala from Bayern Munich, and he plays for Germany. You would have seen the first game on Friday when Germany demolished Scotland 5-1. Musiala was everywhere. He scored. I think he laid on a couple of goals. He was a menace to the Scots throughout the whole match. He was everywhere. And of course, whenever we see him for Bayern Munich, I don't think I've ever seen Musiala have one bad game for Bayern Munich and for Germany. That's how consistent he is. And it'd be bad news for Arsenal fans and for the rest of the top teams in the all the teams in the Premier League, because I'm hearing that Manchester City really want to sign him. Pep is a big fan of his, and if Manchester City get their way, of course, De Bruyne is probably only got 1 or 2 more years left at the very top, at the very most. And if City were to get him, it would be difficult for all of us to compete. So that's the first one, Jamal Musiala. The second one is his Germany teammate who scored also on Friday. I think he scored the first goal for Germany. Florian Wirtz. He plays for Leverkusen. He almost had an invincible season. Of course, Leverkusen lost in the final of the Europa League to Atalanta, but they won the League and Cup double, domestic double in Germany. And Florian Wirtz, one of the best young players in Europe, possibly the world, played absolutely excellently the whole of last season for Leverkusen. Another player Manchester City are linked with. So if they were to get either one, it'll be a difficult proposition for all of the top teams trying to fight Man City from winning another league again, and of course the European teams from against Manchester City winning the Champions League. So those are the 2 players, both young and both from Germany. The third player on the list is Phil Foden, our very own Phil Foden from up north. Just a Manchester boy. My Mancunian accent isn't great, but anyway, yeah, Phil Foden, I really think he's a baller. I've always liked Phil Foden when he first came into the scene for Manchester City, and I always wanted Arsenal to sign him. I don't know if we're going to get him now, because Arsenal were on the tails of Manchester City, and Manchester City had just gone from strength to strength, and I'm not sure if we're going to get him. The only way we can get him is if we're a bigger club than Manchester City, Arsenal, but is if maybe Pep left and City declined a bit and Arsenal are now the number 1 team and City maybe number 2 and number 3, then they might jump ship. But as it stands at this moment in time, I can't see it. And even though he's very good friends with both Declan Rice and also with Saka, I don't know if that will happen. So my number 3 to look out for, third on the list, is Phil Foden. Number 4 is Xavi Simons, a player I've also been strongly linked with, of course. Manchester City also been linked with him as well. I believe he's still owned by Paris Saint-Germain, but he's now playing for RB Leipzig in Germany. He was on loan there. He also played for PSV Eindhoven a couple of seasons back, and when we played against them in the Europa League, he tormented us. And I've also been keen admirers of him ever since. But I don't know if we're going to get him. I'd like him to come in and play and deputise for Saka on that right side. But he can also play on the left side. He can also play as a number 10. It could be that maybe we play him on the other side for Martinelli, because I don't think he's a guy like that will come and just sit on the bench for Arsenal when we know that Saka is there. I think he's going to want to start games for us. And I think there's room for him in the team. Both him and Saka can play in the same team. But for me, number 4 on the list is actually, Xavi Simons from Holland, Netherlands. You played earlier, and by the way, they beat Poland 2-1. And Simons had a quiet-ish game, but he's one to look out for. So far, all the players we picked are quite young, but we're going to get to some of the more experienced players down the line. There's a couple of them on here. Our number 5 is Pedri for Spain. We see him playing yesterday. Pedri for Spain. They had a wonderful win in the Euros yesterday. Pedri is an excellent player for Barcelona, a very, very young player. I think he's 21. He won the Golden Boy award a year or two ago. A very, very good player. I know Pep's another admirer of his, and Manchester City, once you're an excellent player, Manchester City are always sniffing around. But I'm not sure if he will leave Barcelona at this moment in time, but he's an excellent player for Spain. He's a bit in the mode of a Xavi for Spain. I would have said Iniesta, because Iniesta was a bit more attacking than Xavi. Was Xavi, Iniesta was more attacking. Xavi was more of a dictator, like a deep line ball player like Pirlo for Italy. I think Pedri is a bit more in the mold of a Xavi. He likes to dictate the play. He goes forward sometimes, but only when it's necessary. And he just plays excellent balls around for the attackers like Morata, etc., etc. But I think Pedri is an excellent player, and he's one to look out for in Euro 24. Next, number 6 on the list is, for me, the best player in the world currently, Kylian Mbappe. Just got a dream move to Real Madrid. For me, the best player in the world at this moment in time. And even his fellow professionals have said that he's the best player in the world. Plays for France. For me, France are my favourites to win the Euros, but we'll talk about that in a few more minutes at the end of this section here. We'll talk about the players of the tournament. Kylian Mbappe, for me, will lead France to the Euros, and I think he'll probably end up the top scorer. He could play on the left. He could also play on the right. He could play in the middle. He could play as a spearhead up top. He's just the best player. He's so flexible, so multifaceted. Some people just focus mainly on his pace, but Kylian Mbappe, ball to feet, ball into space, he will latch onto it with his pace, with his skill, with his power. I think he'll be the player of the tournament. One of the players of the tournament, of course, but be the actual, because I think he'll score the most goals and it will get France to win it. Lead France to Euro 24 victory. He's already won a World Cup, but this to add of his World Cup back from 2018 to, it'll just be the levels. Absolutely, all he needs to do now is win the Champions League with Real Madrid going forward, and win a couple of Ballon d'Ors, and he's going to be one. He'll be looked upon at the end of his career as one of the all-time greats, without a shadow of a doubt. Number 7's Arda Güler, which will be Kylian Mbappe's teammate for next season. Arda Güler plays for Turkey, Turkish international, very young. I think he's 19 years of age. Arda Güler plays for Real Madrid, plays for Turkey, the Turkish national team. And I'm not expecting Turkey to go very, very far, but I think they should be able to get out of the group. And I personally think that he'll be probably their best player, or one of their best players, certainly. And I really like him. He's very good on the ball. He's not the quickest, but he doesn't need pace because he's got a great mind. He's always thinking ahead when he plays for Real Madrid and when he plays for Turkey. And I've got to be honest, I've not seen him a great amount of times. I've seen him a handful of times in the Champions League for Real Madrid and in the La Liga, and he looks a very, very good player. I like him a lot. And if he wasn't playing for Real Madrid, maybe if he was playing for a lesser club, I would like Arsenal to go for him, because I think he could play on that right hand side and deputise for Saka. He could also play in the middle, in the centre, maybe even as a number 10 because he's got a good range of passing. He could probably play on the left hand side and they rotate with of Martinelli. Anyway, number 8 is Rodri. We talk about the more experienced players. Rodri, of course, we all know about Rodri. Plays for Manchester City. Excellent player. He had a record up until the cup final last season when Manchester United beat Manchester City in the final, of going over a year without losing any games. I can't remember how many number of games it was, but it was over 50. It was a lot of games without losing. And of course, Manchester United sorted that when they won the FA Cup, when they beat Manchester City in the final with Rodri playing and starting a match. So Rodri, is one of the players to look out for. Steady on the ball, the craftsman, can come up with some key goals as well, could hit them, and just a very, very good midfielder, excellent midfield player. Number 9 is, for all our Arsenal fans, Leandro Trossard. Some people call him Bossard of that celebration. Yeah, Leandro Trossard, a baller. And I didn't think he was this good. A lot of Arsenal fans said they didn't think he was this good when we bought him from Brighton. But I remember watching him years ago. Not say years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when Brighton went up to Anfield and beat Liverpool. They drew 3-0 with Liverpool, and he scored a hat-trick. And ever since then, I've kept my eye on him. I never knew when Wenger came out and said that he wanted to sign him for Arsenal years ago when he was a teenager. I didn't know that. But yes, Leandro Trossard for Belgium is one to look out for in this tournament. So we picked 2 experienced players in Rodri and Leandro Trossard. You could say Kylian Mbappe because he's 25, but he's still probably looked at as a player on the periphery of being one of the more mature, because he's 25. He'll be 26 later on in the year, and he'll be coming into his prime. So he's still at that stage where he's not quite. He's in the middle. He's one of those prime players. Prime. I wouldn't say he's not a young player. He's not one of the veterans. He's a prime player. And so, but we're going back to the youth again now. We're here with Lamine Yamal. He plays for, I'll pronounce his name right, I think I have. Plays for Barcelona. Only 16 years of age. Excellent player. We saw him torment when he played for Spain yesterday, and he was twisting and turning, and he was absolutely brilliant for Spain when they won yesterday. And Lamine is a kid with the world at his feet. He really reminds me. I don't know. He reminds me of a young Kylian Mbappe when Mbappe was just bursting through. He also, part of him also reminds him of Neymar when Neymar was bursting through about 10 or so years ago. He just has that lovely trickery about him. You don't know what way he's going to go. And I think maybe in the next few years it could be him and Musiala, who the 2 best players in the world. Maybe when Mbappe's kind of in his 30s and so on. And then you've got, of course, the Brazilian one. I know we talk about the Euros, but we've got Endrick from who's going to join Real Madrid next season. So it could be between those 3. And of course, Hendrick at the moment, Hendrick will play for Real Madrid. Then you got Yamal at Barca, and they got Musiala at Bayern, 3 of the biggest teams in the world. So it could be between those 3 for the Ballon d'Ors in the coming years, when the likes of Mbappe, has probably hanged up, or not hanged up, he's in his 30s or late 20s, so on. So yeah, that some very exciting times to look out for. Because I was thinking when the likes of Messi and Ronaldo were still playing, I was thinking that when they retire, what have we got? I didn't see anybody really, apart from Mbappe, I didn't really see anybody coming through. But all of a sudden, Vinicius Junior is balling out, Foden is balling out. Saka, in a way, he's a bit coming and going, hit and miss. But I think he'll come back and get there. And like these young men we've mentioned here, some of our players of the tournament I've mentioned here. So in the last couple of years, a lot of guys have actually come through. And I'm very happy about that, We're going to go for number 11, João Neves. João Neves is an excellent defensive midfield player. In years gone by, we used to call guys like the anchor midfielders, because when I was a kid coming up, we used to call these players anchor midfield players. Players would just sit in front of the back 4 and just break up play from the opposition. And so on, but now there's a new word for them now. We call these guys just a number six, just number six, like Declan Rice for Arsenal. You got Rodri for Manchester City. Of course, we spoke about him earlier, and so on. But this guy he sits, but he can spray the ball around. He can play, this guy. Not just the fact that he can break up play and give it to somebody like Makaleli, one of those midfielders in that mode, as I'm talking about. But he can actually bring the ball out and play a bit. And that's why the likes of Manchester United want to sign him. Arsenal want to sign him, of course. I'm hearing even at Barcelona are linked with him as well. And Manchester City and Chelsea. So the big clubs in Europe want to sign this young boy. And I think he's 19. Yeah, 19. So he's got a lot of years. And Benfica, his current club, of course, Benfica are a big club, but of course they're known as these days as a selling club. So whoever offers the most money, and if he wants to go, will go. But I personally think that Arsenal will do well to get him, but I'm not. He's gonna come, and Declan Rice is already there. I don't know. He might decide to stay one more year with Benfica and then move maybe next summer. But if he has a very good Euros, his price tag is gonna escalate, and the big clubs we just mentioned in Europe are gonna come for him. So I personally think he might go to Barcelona. I don't know, but they don't have the money. But they always now they find these loopholes, don't they, Barca? In how to sign players. But anyway, we'll see where he goes. So Raul Neves, maybe one you're not so familiar with, but for those of us who watch Portuguese football, the Premier Division and so on, and know about these young guys coming through and so on, we know that this guy is a young baller. And the final one on the list, number 12, is our very own William Saliba. I had to pull him there because a lot of people are saying, both fans, pundits, and even some players, ex-players and current players who are playing the game now, are saying that he's probably the best defender in the world. A lot of people are saying that William Saliba is actually more or less taken over from Virgil van Dijk, because probably the number one player, the number one defender, the number one centre half in the world. And some people are saying that it's neck and neck between him and Ruben Diaz at Manchester City, and also for Portugal, you see. And so I personally, and the funny thing was as well with William Saliba, he wasn't really Didier Deschamps' first choice for France. It was the likes of Upamecano alongside Konate. Upamecano, Konate were playing there, and all of a sudden now William Saliba had a good season with Arsenal, one of Arsenal's best players last season. You would have seen the player ratings I did a week or so ago. I think it was the Arsenal player ratings when I put Saliba as probably joint third best player of the season, along with Leandro Trossard, and I put Declan Rice as our best player last season, Arsenal that is, and number 2 is Gabriel Magalhaes. Yeah. So, but this is the thing. Arsenal got to be careful, because if William Saliba balls out, which he probably will, because he's that good, the likes of Real Madrid will be looking, Paris Saint-Germain, because Saliba is a Parisian. So these guys have got clout, but Arsenal a bigger club than PSG. Of course, Real Madrid are the biggest club in history. So if they come calling, Rudiger is like in his 30s now, I believe, and for me, I don't think Milito is as good. He's not on that level. He's a good defender, but he's not on that level. And Real Madrid it might not be this summer, but it could be next summer. And especially if Arsenal, we don't win anything, either the league or the Champions League, or even one of the other domestic cups, and finish high up in the table, or even win a couple of trophies for next season, then his head might, if Madrid come and offer come with a tempting offer, then his head might turn, because it's Real Madrid. Who can turn Real Madrid down? Not many people can turn Real Madrid down. Before I go, of course, so those are the 12 players. I'll go through them list by list, or name by name. Number 1, Jamal Musiala. Number 2, Florian Wirtz. Number 3, Phil Foden. Number 4, Xavi Simons. Number 5, Pedri. I'll put pictures up of them as well as we go, so to get so you can see as well. Of course, number 5, Pedri. Did I say Pedri? Yeah. Number 6, Kylian Mbappe. Number 7, Arda Güler. Number 8, Rodri. Number 9, Leandro Trossard. Number 10, Lamine Yamal. Bit of a tongue twister. Number 10, Raul Neves. And of course, number 12, William Saliba. Those are my 12 players to look at for this year's Euros. We're not going to do the preview because games have gone by now, but we're going to do, I'll quickly finish with these few things here. I think the top score will be Kylian Mbappe for France. My favourites to win it are France, but I'm also going for Portugal. If France fell, I think Portugal might win it. That means Ronaldo gets a second Euros and so on. But I think Portugal squad, when you look for it, it's really, it's crack. It's mustard. There's not many weaknesses there. But I think because of Mbappe and France have got so many good players, they don't have one single weakness. I think if France were to play Portugal in the final, which that could be the final, I could see France taking Portugal. Ronaldo isn't what he was before, but he's still very influential. He's still very good, and he's still got an eye for goal. But I just think France will pivot. They've got too much strength in depth, too much power, too much know-how. Don't forget they won a World Cup with much of these players in the squad 6 years ago. So I'm going for France to win it. My second favourites are Portugal, and my dark horses are Holland. I was saying to a friend of mine, I think it was yesterday, that Holland are like England. They've underachieved so much at international level. I want to see Holland win something. They got the 2 finals in the 70s. My father used to tell me about the 74 team of Cruyff, and he also told me about the 78 team as well. And the 88 team, I was just a bit too young, because I got into football about the same year as that, but I didn't remember the Euros of 88 with Van Basten, with Gullit, with Rijkaard, with Koeman and those guys. But I remember the 1990 World Cup. They were very disappointing. They were favourites to win it with Italy, and they flopped in those 1990 finals. But I think that they got to the final in 2010 when Iniesta won it for Spain in extra time. So I really want Holland. I like to see Holland do it, because a nation like that deserves. There should be in at least one World Cup, or maybe a couple of Euros, or even a couple of World Cups and a couple of Euros. They're that good. But I like to see them win it. If France and Portugal are win it, I'm going to go for Holland as my dark horse. I don't fancy England this summer to win it. I think they'll play well, but I think they'll get caught up by maybe more technically astute players, and their defense is looking really shabby. England, so I think England will get to the quarters, maybe a push, maybe the semis, but I think they'll quarters and they'll face maybe France or someone, and they end up getting knocked out. And that's about it really. So I'm going for France to win it, Kylian Mbappe to be the top scorer, probably the player of the tournament. But I've given you 12 players, in which Mbappe is one of those 12 players, which should be among the player of the tournament in my perspective, in my opinion. The team of the tournament most probably be France, because they'll win it. And then if not France, then Portugal. And then, as I said, my dark horse, if not France, if not Portugal, then possibly Holland. Van Dijk, they've got Simmons. I looked at them today. They look quite good. They keep the ball well. Memphis Depay, I can't believe he's not far behind being their leading top scorer. But he's very effective. He gets forward a lot, and he's always in good positions, even if he doesn't always hit the target sometimes. He missed a couple of good chances today when I watched them against Poland. But Depay, I like Holland. They look solid. And of course, Koeman's won it as a player, the manager. He won it in 88 as a player. So I think Holland, if France and Portugal fell, I like the look of Spain as well, but I don't know. Spain they lack something. Even though they won their game yesterday, they just lack something. I can't put my finger on what it is. But anyway, that's my prediction and my place to look at for in the Euros, Euro 2024. I hope you enjoy the Euros so far, and I hope you keep watching it and you enjoy it. Don't forget, as I said, to subscribe to this channel, and as I said, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe, to share, to like the videos. It's free. You take care of yourselves. And before I forget, thank you for those of you who left your comments. Our little homage to the late great Kevin Campbell, sadly passed away yesterday morning. It was very sad. I couldn't stop thinking about him for the whole day. And again today, the tributes pouring out all over the world, because he played in Turkey. Arsenal are known all over the world, so to Everton and Forest, and a lot of people around the world would have watched him playing for these clubs, and so on. And I think he played for West Brom as well. Trabzonspor was a team he played for in Turkey, as I thought. And we're going to talk about Kevin Campbell some more down the line. We're going to do another content around Kevin Campbell, a podcast. So look out for that one. In the next couple of weeks, we'll do that. And then tomorrow, we're hoping to do some transfer news. I don't like to come in and talk too much about transfers, because I don't like rumors. Sometimes rumors mean nothing. But when I hear and see a strong transfer rumor, like we've been linked with Onana and so on, and Xavi Simmons, then I'll come ahead and do a post around it. So look out for that one sometime tomorrow. You take care of yourselves. Remember, we love you. Okay, take care. Adios.